Hey everyone, want to give a shout out before we get into it. This is one of our Chart Guys members, and he's the guy who does the intros for our videos. Kinetic Crypto on YouTube. He's starting a channel where he's so far gone over the Quadriga fiasco and simply explaining Ethereum. So check it out. I'm sure he's going to be putting out more content in the near-term future. Hey crypto friends, it's been a couple days since we've checked in. The reason for that being nothing changed in the 2 days from the video that I had made. We were still grinding for our exponential resistance, and then we started seeing some action pick up, but still not seeing a whole lot of difference in price. When I made the last video 3 days ago at this point, we were up here in the 3840s to 3860s. That's where we stand right now. Granted, a lot has been going on in between then, but the price has not really changed. So I've said this a lot if you've been watching these videos over the last however many months, that this market environment for trading is very, very, very difficult. If you are making money consistently for months on end at this point, you deserve a gold star, because if this is what trading were like, I would not be a trader. And there are way easier environments out there right now. I continually, nudge towards Canadian MJ, but that's probably going to be a little bit more difficult heading into the summer as well. Bottom line is, I haven't been trading crypto because it's been difficult. And the reason it's difficult is because the trading environment is low volume and low liquidity. And you have these bots and these leveraged exchanges that are running the show. And that leads to these huge wicks and huge fake outs. You're not going to see this happen on stocks. It just doesn't happen. You don't drop this significantly and then instantly bounce 4%. And let's just go back to what just happened. 5-minute time frame for Bitcoin. This kind of drop and then instant bounce, I've never seen that happen in a stock unless, there was bad news that was initially interpreted by the bots. That sometimes happens on earnings releases. The earnings releases will initially be bearish and then the bulls show up. That's the only time it happens, and it's coming. The earning report is this date after hours, and you can prepare for it. But in this kind of market environment, it is extremely difficult. And again, to be able to do this long-term consistently, you're not going to be able to utilize technical analysis, in my opinion, in this market consistently. So I am patiently waiting for this market to shift back to a more favorable trading environment, which it will eventually. But I don't know if that's going to be in 2 months or 2 years. I have no idea. But one of my biggest accomplishments in the last 2 years is over the last year sitting out cryptocurrency for a large part. I played a lot of bounces in 2018, so it's probably not been a whole year, but let's just say the last 6 months, just being extremely selective, still making some small profits on some trades like we did on this last bounce a week ago, but just knowing to be hands off, because I would be giving back so much of my profit from 2017 if I were still trying to actively day trade in this environment. So to avoid the chop, we need to go to the weekly time frame. And the longer term time frame you use, the more you zoom out, the less kind of chop that you're going to be getting. So we have a clear equilibrium. This is all I care about right now, and I am probably not going to trade the cryptocurrency space until this equilibrium breaks. We have our low of Bitcoin, the high of the bounce, higher low, double top, and here we are still right in the middle of the range, patiently waiting for some more clarity. We look at it on the daily time frame. We had the big dump. We had inside bar, bear break, and a bounce. And now we're going to be looking for a lower high somewhere compared to 41.89, and for the bears to keep somewhat control from that dump that we did see. So I'm not even going to look at the 4-hour and the hourly, because again, it's just the absolute Wild West and extremely frustrating for traders to try and have an edge. It's very difficult to have an edge when these robots are going nuts. And the worst case scenario for technical analysts and traders that we could see is if AI, artificial intelligence, did this to all markets. If this starts happening in stocks, then I don't foresee that happening in the near-term future, at least in the next 3+ years. But that would pretty much be worst case scenario for me personally, because it would make day trading extremely difficult. So, Ethereum. Again, weekly time frame. We did get a bull break on the weekly, but no follow through because Bitcoin did not get the break as well. We're pretty much going to call that a double top, where we have our low. We'll call it a double top. Yes, we did break by, $5, but that is a couple percent and not very significant. And again, Bitcoin overrides that break. So we're looking now Can the bulls form a higher low compared to $190 and then get a more clear bull break with more clear follow through? Still possible. We're not giving up on the bulls in this space at this point, as we are in this tightening range. A lot of Elliott wave traders are looking for one more leg down to at least test the all-time or the lows of the dump at this point, the 2018 lows. But we're just watching this weekly time frame, and that will give us clarity in the short term. Daily chart for Ethereum, less of the fake out scenario than what Bitcoin's doing, and that's because we just have clear lower highs. 141.09, 140, and now 139 are our lower highs. We're still battling the 4-hour exponential resistance. Yes, we have the wicks and bulls buying the dip, and really what the scenario is what the thumbnail of this video is. Bulls are playing defense. The bulls haven't really shown us much offense, but they're buying the dip and protecting when the bears show up. It's almost like jujitsu. That just brought back a memory where I tried to talk about jujitsu in a previous video and struggled, but it's taking the bears' momentum and energy and using that against them. And, the bulls are sitting and waiting and doing nothing, and then the bears show up, and then they counteract that momentum to see these long lower wicks. So for Ethereum, if we break the 4-hour lower highs, just like Bitcoin, we're going to be looking for a lower high compared to 165.62 here on the daily time frame. Litecoin. So weekly time frame, a lot different because it's the most clear bull break and follow through out of any of those major names that we've looked at so far. Daily time frame, so same kind of fake out, although we did hold support 42. Well, technically we broke it by 10 cents, but not much of a break of support before the bulls showed up. But we haven't broken the top of the bounce attempt yet. 46.89 is key resistance. Have not broken it. We're looking up towards that level. If we break that resistance level on the daily, we're going to look for a lower high compared to 53.49. XRP. We've had a lot of volatility in XRP due to the uplisting, or not the uplisting, but the listing on Coinbase. And congrats to the bears that went short in that scenario, knowing that it was a likely sell the news event, saw the significant pullback. Congrats to the bulls that bought the dip to play off this support. It's been a beautiful equilibrium, and it's just tightening ranges with our high, low of the pullback, lower high, higher low. And looking at that on the 4-hour time frame, high, low of the dump, bears were top fishing 35 resistance, perhaps bulls were bottom fishing 30 support, and now we're going to be looking for a lower high in the 32 or 33 range. And this is going to be a nice pattern that tightens up into the weekend, and we'll probably see a break over the weekend of this pattern. So worth keeping an eye on. And if you are on Coinbase, now you have the ability to trade XRP and this potential pattern when it breaks. BNB, Binance, is still a daily uptrend as far as I'm concerned. The higher low was 889, and it looks like we just formed another higher low at 926. So resistance is 1109 and 1130, and we're watching for an equilibrium on the daily time frame. If we see a bull move and we top out and cannot break 1109, then we'll look to pull back and form another daily higher low and for this range to tighten up. So keep an eye on BNB for a potential tightening range into the weekend as well. But if we do form this lower high and pull back, it'll probably take until early next week for a break of this tightening daily range. It's a difference between XRP tightening range is on the 4-hour time frame versus the BNB potential tightening range on the daily time frame, which is why it's going to take longer for it to play out. NEO on the daily chart, trying to keep this uptrend as well. We established support at 845 before seeing continuation, and now we've held 851 and 855. So barely holding those supports, but they are still holding, and you can see that's the base of support at this point. Also 4-hour lower highs similar to Ethereum, 960, 944, 918. So we're watching these clear 4-hour lower highs and our clear base of support down at 850. If we lose that 850 and 845 support level, the weekly time frame is going to be due for consolidation. And at this point, we did see a weekly little higher low and higher high, and we'll need to pull back on the weekly and form another higher low compared to 666 if we lose that daily support level. If we don't lose it, bulls are just fine. They keep the uptrend and they keep strength, but that's certainly the most important support level in the short term on NEO. Another higher low established for EOS. So we ran the entire way up without establishing daily support. We have now done so down at 355. Inside bar, bull break, and we'll look for a lower high compared to 454. The size of this bounce is going to dictate what is the most likely scenario from here. If we make a bull move all the way up to 425, the odds of the bulls being able to see follow through eventually will be high. If this is as high as the bulls can get, we're going to be looking at the odds of a bear break and a lower high and lower low. Otherwise, we're going to be watching the bulls want to make their way to the midpoint at least to see an equilibrium tighten up here. So I'd say the target for the bulls is up towards 4 psychological. And if we get up to $4, we would then look for a higher low and again, another tightening range. And a lot of these names are seeing tightening ranges because that's the most likely scenario when you see big time volatility. And that's certainly what we saw last week with that big dump day, lots of volatility. TRX, still watching the weekly time frame here. Bulls have been unable to give us a convincing signal that the weekly higher low has been established. Bulls are hoping it's at 022, but again, the daily time frame has not changed the trend, and we have some big upper wicks and lower wicks and big, wild action here that's making the trend a lot less clear on the daily time frame. Bulls have to see a break of 245 to start and shift this momentum back. And if we can break 245, the odds of the weekly higher low being established will increase a bit, but pretty much a guarantee that this week we're going to see an inside bar form. So we'll see next week how this inside bar is going to break. ONT, this had been a big runner. We had an inside bar break bearish. That tells us to zoom out to the daily and look for a higher low to form, and that has now formed at 85 cents. So 85 is our new support. Resistance is up at 120. And same thing here with all this volatility, we're going to look for a lower high to form in the upper 90-cent range, and a tightening daily time frame is the most likely scenario. We still need to confirm the 4-hour trend change. We did get a little double low and a bull break, another higher low, and if the bulls can break 951, that'll be convincing that this daily chart is following through to find that lower high in that upper 90-cent or lower $1 range. So, bottom line, if you're still sticking around in this market and trying to actively trade it and not losing, you're a hero. If you're sitting on your hands, you're doing the right thing. And again, going to other markets is ideal to continue practicing technical analysis and trading. And we will be back to actively trade this space eventually, but now is not the time. And once we see weekly clear trend changes, once we see increases in volume, that will be when we're back interested in this space again as far as actively trading it goes. And until then, plenty of other opportunities out there, and we'll just go over today's play. I love those oversold bounces. I'm playing Craft in the stock world. Big bad news, big gap down open, very overextended 4 days in a row. So I headed into today saying, I'm looking for this oversold bounce to take place. I'm going to make my initial entry. I will scale in if we get another pullback. And at this point, we are now up a solid 3.5% on the day, just looking for this oversold bounce to play out. And we'll see if we can make our way back up to the gap fill. So nice and easy in terms of this is the way we're used to charts working, and no big upper wicks, lower wicks, crazy fake outs. We just had a break of 32 psychological support, V-shaped recovery, bull flag, and that's that. So check out other markets, continue practicing technical analysis, get prepared, establish game plans, but sit on your hands and do not give back capital in this wild cryptocurrency market environment. Hope you have a great day. Do some good things out there. Going to be looking into potentially fostering some old dogs for a couple weeks at a time. That would be exciting. I'm still living short term, looking to buy a place. And in the meantime, I'd like some dog friends. So we'll check back in when things shift a bit more. And let's look back at Bitcoin one more time on this 4-hour time frame as we are trading in this range still. Bulls have the slight edge. We're over the exponential resistance. We're going to look for a bull cross there. So again, zooming out to the daily and watching for the daily lower high to be set. And this is now the range. So keep talking about the volatility and how equilibriums are likely out of volatility. And we have the high, and I guess we'll call this our low because we never started a bounce until we hit that level. And now the bounce is clearly starting. So high, low, and we're scouting the lower high. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Oh, I want to give a shout out. Julian. I'll do it at the beginning.